My husband hid me for 8 months while secretly dating another woman. Now she's pregnant and they're planning their future together, but he didn't expect what I did next to end everything. I still can't believe this is happening. I never thought I'd be the kind of person telling a story like this. You know the type, someone who finds out that the person they trusted with their whole heart has been lying to them, betraying them for months. I've heard these stories before, but I always thought, that'll never be me. I know my husband. I trust him completely, but here I am, living it, and it feels like my world has been torn apart. And I have been together for 7 years, married for 4. Our marriage wasn't perfect, whose is, right? But we were happy. At least I thought we were. We had our ups and downs, but I always believed we were solid. I trusted him more than anyone. Never in a million years did I think he could do something like this to me. It all came crashing down yesterday. I was just sitting at home scrolling through Instagram when I got a message from G, an old college friend. I hadn't talked to her in years, so I wasn't sure what she wanted. Her message started with a casual "Hey girly," which seemed harmless enough. But then, out of nowhere, she dropped the bombshell she had been seeing my husband. I didn't understand at first. Seeing him? What did she mean? Then she sent me screenshots of their texts, some of them flirtatious, others explicit. She even sent a selfie they took together after they had slept together. It felt like the ground fell out from under me. I stared at my phone, trying to process what I was looking at. This couldn't be real. This was my husband. How could he do this? How could he be this person? But it was all right there in front of me, the proof, the messages, the photos. I couldn't deny it. I couldn't pretend it wasn't happening. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, G dropped another bombshell. She was 3 months pregnant. And since she hadn't been with anyone else, the baby was ours. I felt like I was going to throw up. My mind was racing. This wasn't just some random affair. He had been dating her, living a double life, building a future with her while pretending everything was fine with us. I was too shocked to cry at first. I just sat there numb, trying to make sense of it all. G told me she didn't even know I existed. She thought R was single because he never posted about me on his social media. He told her that his Instagram was for his fitness business, and he kept his personal life separate. That made sense to me at the time. I never thought twice about it. We had our life together in the real world, and I didn't need validation from social media. But now I see that he used that as an excuse to hide me from her. She didn't know about me until recently, and when she found out, she felt terrible. She reached out to me because she thought I deserved to know the truth. I didn't know what to do. I was furious, heartbroken, and completely blindsided, but I knew I had to confront R. There was no way around it, so I waited for him to come home, my heart racing the whole time. When he walked through the door, acting like everything was normal, I just exploded. I showed him the messages, the pictures, and I demanded an explanation. He didn't even try to deny it. He just stood there, deflated, and admitted to everything. He said it was supposed to be a one-time thing, that he didn't mean for it to turn into a full-blown affair. But after that first night, they kept seeing each other. He told me that he didn't think I'd ever find out, that he didn't mean for it to go this far. But it did go this far, and now it was too late. I asked him why. Why would he do this? Why would he throw away everything we had built together for this? His answer was so pathetic it made me even angrier. He said he felt distant because I had been busy with work, and G gave him attention. That's what this was about. He ruined our marriage for a little extra attention from someone else, and now he was going to be a father to another woman's child, a child I didn't even know existed until a few hours ago. I couldn't look at him anymore. I told him to get out. He tried to argue, to say we could work through it, but I wasn't having it. There was nothing left to say. He packed a bag and left to stay with a friend. As soon as he was gone, I collapsed on the couch and sobbed. The pain was overwhelming. I cried for the future I thought we were going to have, for the trust he had shattered, and for all the time I had spent loving someone who didn't deserve it. The next day, I called a lawyer. I wasn't going to let this drag on any longer than necessary. I sent her everything, the screenshots, the texts, all of it. She called me back later and told me the case was solid. It would be a slam dunk, she said. That gave me some relief, knowing that at least legally, I had a way forward, but emotionally, I was a wreck. Then there was G. As strange as it sounds, we ended up talking a lot over the next few days. She felt awful about everything. She had no idea R was married, and now she was pregnant with his child. We were both blindsided by his lies, and in some weird way we leaned on each other for support. She told me she didn't want anything to do with him anymore, except for child support. She was done with him, just like I was. But the hardest part for me was knowing that R had been living a double life. While I thought we were building a future together, he was doing the same thing with her. It made me question everything, every moment we had shared, every conversation, every kiss. Was any of it real, or was it all just part of the lie? I knew I had to move on, but it wasn't easy. You don't just stop loving someone overnight, even after they betray you like this. I kept thinking about the good times we had, about the plans we had made for the future. But then I'd remember the betrayal, and it would hit me all over again. He wasn't the man I thought he was. He had lied to me, and I couldn't trust him anymore. A few days later, I asked R to come over so we could talk. I needed closure, not more excuses. When he showed up, he looked miserable. I admit, it gave me a small sense of satisfaction to see him like that. He apologized again, told me he was sorry, that he never meant to hurt me, but I didn't care. The damage was done, and there was no fixing it. I told him I was filing for divorce, and he didn't fight me on it. He knew there was no coming back from this. He even asked if we could stay friends. I actually laughed in his face. Friends? After everything he had done? I told him to get out and not come back. I was done. The next few days felt like a blur. I went through the motions, work, errands, the usual stuff, but everything felt empty. I didn't tell anyone what had happened at first. I wasn't ready to talk about it. I needed time to process everything on my own. But eventually I told my closest friends, and they were amazing. They listened to me, supported me, and helped me realize that I wasn't alone in this. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. G and I had been talking, but something about her behavior started to bother me. I couldn't put my finger on it, but something felt off. I began to distance myself from her, and she didn't take it well. She sent me a series of angry texts, accusing me of being fake, saying I was lying about everything. And then she told me that she had known about me the whole time. She had seen pictures of our wedding on Instagram through mutual friends. She knew R was married, and she didn't care. That was the final straw for me. I blocked her after that. I didn't need that kind of drama in my life. A few days later, R came by to pick up the rest of his things. We had one final conversation, and he admitted that G had been trying to get pregnant from the start. She had been bragging to her friends about it, like it was some kind of twisted game. I didn't know whether to feel angry or relieved, angry that he had been so stupid, or relieved that I wasn't the one stuck with him for the rest of my life. The final nail in the coffin came when R posted a gender reveal on Instagram. Just like that, he had moved on with G, acting like our marriage had never even existed. But you know what? I wasn't going to let that bother me. I had already made my peace with the situation. I was done with him, and I was ready to move on. Now, I'm in the process of cutting ties with him completely. The divorce is in motion, and I'm living alone in our apartment. It's not easy, but I'm managing. I have a great job, amazing friends, and a bright future ahead of me. I'm not going to let R or G hold me back anymore. They can have each other. I'm done with both of them. But as much as I say I'm done, I won't lie, it's not that simple. I have good days and bad days. There are moments when I feel empowered, like I'm ready to take on the world and rebuild my life from the ground up. Then there are days when the weight of everything hits me like a ton of bricks. The future I thought I was going to have with R is gone, and even though I know I deserve better, it's still hard to accept that it's over. I keep thinking back to when we first met. It feels like a lifetime ago now. We met at a mutual friend's party, and we hit it off immediately. I remember thinking how easy it was to talk to him, how natural everything felt between us. We spent the whole night talking, laughing, and by the end of the evening, I knew there was something special between us. We started dating not long after that, and for years, everything felt perfect. We traveled together, made plans for the future, talked about starting a family someday. I really thought he was the one. But now, looking back, I wonder how much of it was real. Was he always capable of this? Were there signs that I missed? I keep replaying moments in my head, trying to figure out where things went wrong, but the truth is, I'll probably never know. And that's the hardest part, accepting that I may never get the closure I'm looking for. I've had people tell me that time heals all wounds, and I hope that's true. Right now it still feels fresh. It's like a wound that hasn't fully scabbed over yet, and every time I think about RNG, it's like someone's ripping the bandage off. But I know that eventually the pain will fade. It has to, right? For now, I'm focusing on myself. I'm spending more time with my friends, throwing myself into work, and making plans for my future. I've started therapy, and it's been helping me process everything. My therapist keeps reminding me that it's okay to feel hurt, to feel angry, and to take my time healing. I don't have to rush through this. Healing isn't linear, and that's okay. I'm also trying to rediscover things that make me happy. Before all of this, I had hobbies and interests that I loved, but somewhere along the way, I lost touch with them. Now I'm picking them up again. I started painting, something I used to do all the time but gave up when life got too busy. It's been therapeutic, a way for me to express myself and get lost in something other than the chaos that's been my life lately. And honestly, I'm starting to look forward to the future. It's strange, but there's a part of me that feels excited about the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I do know that I'm stronger than I ever gave myself credit for. I've been through hell and back and I'm still standing. That has to count for something, right? So that's where I am now, moving forward, step by step. It's not easy, and I know the road ahead won't be smooth. But I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to take control of my life again, to focus on me, and to build a future that I can be proud of. One day at a time, I'm getting there. And honestly, I'm excited to see what's next.